In this video, I'm breaking down Surfshark static IP versus dedicated IP, which one should you use, and why it actually matters for your online privacy, security, and access. A common misconception is that all IP addresses from a VPN are the same, but according to networking studies, over 70% of web services treat shared static and dedicated IPs very differently when it comes to reputation, access, and tracking. That means choosing the right IP type isn't just a technical detail, it affects everything from streaming to account security. So today we're going to explain what static IP and dedicated IP actually mean in Surfshark, how they impact performance and access, and exactly who should use each one based on real-world needs. I'm Erin from the VPN Nerds. Let's get into it. What is a static IP? Let's start with static IP. Normally, when you use a VPN, your IP address changes every time you connect. A static IP is different. With Surfshark's static IP feature, you connect to the same IP address every single time you choose that location. It doesn't rotate, but it is still shared with other Surfshark users. So that's the key point. You get consistency, but you're not the only person using that IP. This helps if websites flag you for switching IPs too often, like banking apps or business dashboards, while still keeping you inside a shared environment. What is a dedicated IP? Now compare that to a dedicated IP. This also stays the same, but it belongs only to you. No other Surfshark user shares it. Every time you connect, all traffic from that IP is tied to your account. This is useful for remote work systems, company networks, IP whitelisting, or situations where access is restricted to a single approved IP. It reduces the risk of getting blocked because of someone else's behavior, but it's also less anonymous than a shared static IP because it's exclusively yours. Now let's start with Surfshark's dedicated IP page. Right at the top, Surfshark clearly defines dedicated IP as a static IP address that's all yours. That wording is important. A dedicated IP is static, meaning it doesn't change, but the key difference is ownership. It's assigned only to you. And they highlight three main benefits here. It's unique to you, it helps access IP-sensitive services, and you'll see fewer verification tests like CAPTCHA prompts. So this sets the foundation. Dedicated IP equals consistency plus exclusivity. So scrolling down, we get a more detailed explanation. So here, Surfshark defines a dedicated IP as a unique IP address assigned exclusively to one user or one account. They also clarify that regular VPN IPs are shared among many users, while a dedicated IP belongs only to you. This is where the distinction becomes clear. Shared IPs rotate and are used by many people. A dedicated IP stays fixed and is tied directly to your account. This is critical for people who need stability, like remote workers or users who rely on IP-based login approvals. So here, why use a dedicated IP? So Surfshark explains why someone would choose a dedicated IP. So they mention simplified remote access, fewer bot checks, and easier access to IP-sensitive sites. In simple terms, when many people share the same VPN server, websites may flag that IP because of unusual activity from other users. With a dedicated IP, you avoid that issue because your IP reputation depends only on your behavior. Now, this improves consistency and reduces interruptions. Benefits of Surfshark dedicated IP. So here they are laying out the practical perks of having a dedicated IP, privacy on your terms. We got coverage across multiple devices, secure manual connections, less risk of IP abuse, and support for different VPN protocols. The main takeaway is control. Instead of connecting through an IP that's been used by tons of other people, you get one consistent IP that follows you across devices, stays the same each time you connect, and lowers the odds of getting blocked because someone else did something sketchy on a shared address. That's why it's especially helpful for business accounts, frequent secure logins, and situations where you need IP whitelisting. How does dedicated IP compare with shared IP? So here, Surfshark is basically answering the question, why would I pay for this? A shared IP is the standard VPN experience. You're put on an IP that's being used by a bunch of other Surfshark users, and it can change from session to session. That can be great if your main goal is blending in with the crowd, but it also means you're stuck with the reputation of whatever that IP has been used for. If too many people hit the same site from the same shared IP, you can get extra login checks, CAPTCHAs, temporary blocks, or suspicious activity warnings, even if you didn't do anything wrong. A dedicated IP flips that. It's assigned only to you and stays the same every time you connect, which makes your logins and access patterns look consistent. The big win here is reliability. We got fewer random lockouts, fewer verify it's you loops, and a much better experience for things like banking logins, admin dashboards, business tools, or anything that's picky about where you're signing in from. So here we can see that dedicated IPs aren't unlimited. Surfshark only offers them in certain locations, and that's not a small detail. The location you choose affects how useful the dedicated IP is for your actual situation. If you're doing work that requires a specific region, like accessing internal tools that only allow logins from certain countries, keeping a consistent login region for business accounts, or meeting an IP whitelisting requirement, then you need to confirm the location you want is actually available before you buy. It also helps set expectations. Dedicated IP isn't pick any country on earth, it's pick from the supported list, and that list can make or break the decision for someone who needs a fixed IP tied to a specific region. This is the spot where you can tell viewers to pause for 2 seconds and check whether their target location is on the list before moving on. How to get dedicated IP. Finally, we reached the pricing and setup section. Surfshark explains the 3 steps. Purchase a Surfshark subscription, log in, then choose and activate a dedicated IP add-on. So this makes it clear that dedicated IP is an add-on feature not included by default. It requires an active subscription and an additional monthly cost. This is also where you can briefly explain that static IP, by comparison, is included in certain plans and remains shared, while dedicated IP requires an upgrade because it is reserved exclusively for you. So who should actually use static IP? Static IP is best for people who want consistency without paying extra for exclusivity. If you're using banking apps, business dashboards, or websites that don't like frequent IP changes, static IP gives you a stable address without rotating every session. It reduces login flags and security alerts, but you're still inside a shared environment, which maintains a stronger layer of anonymity. If your goal is smoother logins and fewer disruptions, but you don't need IP whitelisting, static IP is usually enough. Who should use dedicated IP? Dedicated IP is for a different type of user. If you need to whitelist your IP for remote work, access company systems, manage servers, run secure admin panels, or avoid being affected by other user activity entirely, dedicated IP makes more sense. Because it belongs only to you, your IP reputation is tied solely to your behavior. That lowers the chance of getting blocked due to someone else's actions on the same server. The trade-off is that it's less anonymous than a shared IP because it's uniquely assigned to your account. The real difference. So here's the simplest way to think about it. A static IP is shared but consistent. Your address stays the same each time you connect to that location, but other Surfshark users are using it too. It gives you stability without losing the privacy of blending into a group. On supported plans, it's included without an added fee. A dedicated IP is exclusive and consistent. The address belongs only to you. That means your reputation is tied only to your activity, not anyone else's. It usually costs extra because it's reserved specifically for your account, and it's better suited for work systems or environments that require IP approval. For most everyday users, static IP is more than enough. Dedicated IP is for people who need higher reliability for business access, remote systems, or strict login environments. That's the full breakdown of Surfshark static IP versus dedicated IP. If you just want a smoother, more consistent experience without extra cost, static IP will probably do the job. If you need full control over your IP for work, whitelisting, or secure system access, dedicated IP is the better fit. The key is understanding your use case. Most people don't need exclusivity. Some people absolutely do. If you want to explore Surfshark or check pricing for dedicated IP, I'll leave the link down below so you can see what's available in your region. I'm Erin from the VPN Nerds. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if this video helped, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.